The story of the Veronica virus takes place in Resident Evil Code Veronica. Alexander Ashford was a geneticist who worked for Umbrella Pharmaceuticals. According to the family tree of the Ashford dynasty, Alexander was the last legal heir to the Ashford name, but during his time employed by Umbrella, he assisted his father in research around the progenitor virus. It was an ancient virus found in West Africa, but there was something very unique about this virus. It was a double-stranded virus that could infect humans, animals, plants, and fungi, something that is rarely seen in a single-stranded virus. Despite his research into virology, it was a field he had very little interest for. Instead, he pursued genetic engineering, and with that knowledge, his greatest achievement was discovering the human gene that regulated intelligence. However, he was not rewarded for his discovery and remained as a minor scientist. His initial plan was to revive the legacy and reputation of the Ashford family. The founder of the Ashford family was Veronica. She was a 19th century noblewoman and was known for her intellect and beauty. At a young age, she excelled in every subject like mathematics, biology, and linguistics. She was so brilliant that when she was 10 years old, she already had a postgraduate education and was fluent in 10 different languages. Alexander wanted to bring back Veronica in some way. Her body was entombed in the Ashfords' European home, so he took samples of her DNA and combined it with his own, along with a dangerous gene that increased intelligence. The end result were two clones, Alexia and Alfred. He tried to keep their origins a secret and hid their records in a secret room at the Antarctic base. While Alfred only had above average intellect, it was Alexia who possessed a great amount of intelligence. At the age of 10, Alexia would become the chief senior researcher at Umbrella. She created the T Veronica virus, which was a result of combining the original progenitor virus with one that was found inside a fossilized ant queen. The virus found inside the ant queen was unable to jump to different species, which is the opposite of the progenitor virus. The social nature of the ants is to obey their queen, so Alexia decided to combine the two viruses along with adding plant genes. Meanwhile, her brother Alfred would locate a secret room that can only be opened by 3 family gemstones. He had access to 2 of them already, and the third one was taken from his father. When he accessed the room, he learned about the origins of himself and Alexia. He was merely an experiment by his father. Alfred was driven mad from what he discovered. As time went by, Alexander realized that Alexia was becoming obsessed with the T Veronica virus. She planned to infect herself with it and release it upon the world, and so Alexander left behind an experimental anti-BOW weapon called the linear launcher. It was a last resort to stop Alexia if she tried to go through with her plans. Alfred grew a hatred for his father because he was not made to be as intelligent as Alexia, so Alfred captured his father and used him as a test subject for the T Veronica virus. Alexander would mutate into a creature with extra appendages, an exposed heart, and was uncontrollable. Because this form lacked any intelligence, he was deemed a failed experiment and locked away in a secret room. He was named Nosferatu, which is a Greek name of disease or plague carrier. His transformation was slightly different in Code Veronica when compared to the Umbrella Chronicles, but his story remained the same. Alexia would then inject her own body with the T Veronica virus, but decided to keep her body in cryogenic suspension for 15 years. Her plan was to allow the virus to mature slowly over time with her body. She started this procedure at the age of 12. During this time, Alfred's mind would become more unstable. He would miss Alexia so much that he would turn into a cross-dresser and pretend to be Alexia. This was a sign of a split personality. This was around the time Claire and another inmate would escape a prison on Rockfort Island. Alfred Ashford was the base commander at this time, but when it was attacked by Umbrella forces in search of the virus, he tried to escape back to his home in the Antarctic. Albert Wesker would learn that Alexia has the last sample of the T Veronica virus, and so he makes a plan to visit her home in the Antarctic. Claire and Steve would take a plane that was autopiloted with coordinates to where Alfred Ashford was going. When they arrived, they were pursued by Alfred, but Steve would end up wounding Alfred. But as Alfred ran away, he was able to awaken Alexia. and with his final breath, he would see Alexia come back after 15 years. Alfred's death was different in the Umbrella Chronicles, where it is Alexia who kills him because he took too long to awaken her. At the age of 27, Alexia was in full control of her powers. The procedure of cryogenic suspension for 15 years allowed her body to merge with the T Veronica virus without losing her intelligence. As Alexia holds her brother's dying body in her arms, she takes control of a plant tentacle from underneath the base. It goes after Claire and Steve and captures them. But she decides to use Steve as another test subject. He mutates into a large creature with a giant axe. He is later seen chasing Claire, but ends up saving her. Steve was able to retain his sanity, but died by a plant tentacle controlled by Alexia. Now, around this time, Chris Redfield reached the Antarctic base in search of his sister Claire. Albert Wesker was also here in search of the T Veronica virus. Wesker and Chris would both encounter Alexia in the mansion. Alexia would transform to where she would have superhuman strength, increased durability, and her blood would become flammable. She had a short battle with Wesker until he realized he was no match for her, so he fled the scene and left Chris to battle Alexia. He won the battle, but Alexia was not dead. She would later fuse with one of her breeder pods and go into a second transformation, but was defeated by Chris again. Her final transformation was a giant dragonfly that detached from the breeder pod. She was finally destroyed by Chris Redfield when he used the linear launcher on her. After Alexia's death, Wesker had acquired Steve's body and extracted the T Veronica virus from him. He left behind his star's knife and a message to Chris saying, "I won this game." He would sell the virus to a drug lord named Javier Hidalgo, who was based in Latin America. He used it on his wife and daughter in an attempt of saving their lives. His wife Hilda was lost when she mutated, but his daughter Manuela was able to survive a disease. However, Manuela's organs had to be replaced to keep her alive. Javier also secretly grew a Veronica plant in his mansion's greenhouse. The Veronica plant would infect other vegetation and turn them into Veronica plants. It could destroy an entire ecosystem if it escaped. As a last resort, Javi approached the Veronica plant and allowed it to absorb him to create the V-complex creature, but he was defeated with the help of his daughter Manuela, who was still infected with the T Veronica virus. The research around the T Veronica virus was not over. A scientist named Carla Radames, who was brilliant in genetics, would acquire a sample of the virus. After some time, she was able to remove the genetic code that caused sudden genetic mutations. This variant would be called the T02. She would then merge it with the G virus sample found in Sherry Birkin's body. This meant the test subject would not suffer brain damage, but would acquire instant mutation in minutes. This eliminated the need for the host to merge with the virus for 15 years like Alexia did. It would become an intelligent, bioorganic weapon. This would become the C virus, but Carla would also call it the perfect virus. There was another virus that had similar properties to the T Veronica virus. It was called the T plus G virus. It was made by combining the T virus with the antibodies of the G virus. This virus was used to create the TYRANT 091, which replaced its arms with tentacles. These long tentacles would act as fingers, and its weak point was an exposed heart, which was sticking out from its back. This TYRANT variation was considered a failed experiment because it lacked an electrical current, something the T plus G virus was designed to produce. This virus was also used by Morpheus D. Duval. He used to work for Umbrella, but later became a bioterrorist. He stole 2 viruses from Umbrella and held the world ransom for $5 billion. Near the end of the story, he used this virus on himself and took on a more feminine form. It's unclear if this was due to the T plus G virus or because Morpheus had already undergone surgery to keep his youthful appearance, and possibly some gender reassignment surgeries. Morpheus was able to control his mind in his first form, but lost control during a second form because of the G virus mutations. So that covers the history on the Veronica virus. I've also done some videos around the G virus, Nemesis, HUNK, and William Birkin. So if you want to learn more, go check out those videos. And make sure you leave a like rating on this video and subscribe with notifications turned on. Thanks for watching. My name is Carlos, and I'll see you in the next video.